Hey there, everybody, and it is time for another re-unboxing. That being the case of I actually had opened this up years ago, but it's been quite a few years since I've opened it and re-looked into the actual toy itself. So I'm going to do a re-unboxing of the most recent controversial ship of Boba Fett ship, the Slave One. So back in the day, Slave One was originally designed in 1978. I believe it was a Ralph McQuarrie concept sketch that was in fact based off of, from what we can tell, off of a street lamp, which is kind of a very funny little way and concept to design a ship. But it makes it for a very interesting talking perspective of how you can take any sort of shape and design something cool and different out of that one shape. So Slave One was originally released in 1980 by Kenner Toys, and they kept the mold constructs for all of their vehicles. And the ship continued to come back over the years. It was re-released for the Power of the Force line. And then soon after that, the Shadows of the Empire line, which is the first time that Star Wars ever really truly branched in the toy line outside of the feature films themselves. I actually happened to pick up the Shadows of the Empire version years ago when it first came out, only because I really didn't have the Slave One ship as a kid. Back in the day, I remember going to the local flea markets, and I actually did discover and find a Slave One. It wasn't complete, and it was quite a bit of battle damage to it. I also do not ever remember Slave One ever going to Australia as part of the toy line. And maybe it did, and it was just such a limited release there, but that would have been in the 1980s. But it was interesting that it was always a ship that fascinated me from my childhood. So the Shadows of the Empire line became a very interesting line for me. I did pick up several of the figures that were released at the time, and they came on these beautiful purple sabered image cards that was kind of an interesting choice of color. They wanted to brand it differently, and it stood out for me. So that was the main reason I picked up this guy. Later on, they, of course, continue to re-release the same toy and the same mold as the Jango Fett version of Slave One for the prequels of Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones. And eventually I discovered, only recently, that they had also released a Star Wars Rebels version of the ship we know so well as. And then, just recently, in recent years, they redesigned, remolded the sculpt to get a much larger, more to scale of the action figures version of Slave One, highly detailed. I never actually got this. I just don't have the room for it, but it is a beautiful upgrade and design and sculpt. Always fascinated me since I saw it first in The Empire Strikes Back. So now it's time to unbox this guy, or should I say re-unbox this guy once again. It has been a long time, quite a few years, and we'll kind of go through and explore the myth of Slave One itself. All right, let's turn this down here. Now there's a lot of bits and pieces in here. It sounds like everything's shifting apart and moving around. Oh, hey look, I stuck my Boba Fett figure in there. I was looking for him. I was wondering where you got to. I've got quite a few vehicles. Oh, okay. So it appears I put a whole pile of bits and pieces into my box. And now I get the chance to go through and re-explore what I put in there. Of course, the Boba Fett figure, which deserved to be with his ship. Which never actually came with this particular model, by the way, I've got to say. This was an action figure that I had purchased separately. It appears I've got a Han Solo. It looks like I've got most of my Bespin characters here. I was wondering where they all went to. No, but. So opening this up, as all the Kenner toys were, they're all very well protected. In fact, there you go. All right. So this was all included as in pieces. Let's throw that box over there. So the actual ship itself, most of it is in full condition. These pieces, the side panels were all separated. The little closing door at the back was a separate piece. There was a piece on the side that was designed to pop off as well. But this is what Slave One actually came as when you first purchase it. And it's really kind of an instruction manual of putting all the pieces and assembling it all together. Oh, and it also comes with a very low budget version of Han Solo and Carbonite, and they actually did not re-release Han and Carbonite until the Return of the Jedi line a few years later, and then they made it more to scale with the action figures. This one is quite a bit smaller than the real Han Solo, and it kind of shows quite differently of its scale, of how different of a scale this was. It always amuses me that the Star Wars toys always came, the spaceships came in a much smaller scale to the actual figures, but I guess it's a selling point. They wanted to save money on plastic and keep the price down, so they made all their ships just a little bit smaller than what they should have been. I'll put this over here. So at this point, we also have the stickers, which I never actually put this onto this model. There's probably a reason why I never did. I always found the stickers tended to peel off over the course of time, and I did always want to preserve the best quality as much as I could on the ships themselves. So I, for the most part, would leave the stickers actually attached. Maybe someday I'll put them on there, but for now, I'm gonna keep the stickers on the sticker pack, and they are the original stickers that came with it. And that was the other thing that this particular Shadows of the Empire box came with, and it's got it in the top there. It includes a Star Wars Trilogy Special Edition widescreen Topps card. And this was all in prelude of the special edition coming out. Topps always made some very nice collector cards, and they always did great deals with the Kenner toy line. But yes, this was the Feel the Force Star Wars Trilogy special edition, all in gold, and the widescreen collector cards. So Slave One comes with the instruction manual, and the instruction manual has been reprinted with the Shadows of the Empire logo within it. And very simply put, it's quite simple instructions. It's very easy to put these pieces together. The back piece goes on first, slides in there. Slides up. The back panel hooks in from underneath. Or is it the other way around? Always easy that they made them, that these things would just pop straight out. And you could play inside of your Slave One toy as a child or as an adult. Who am I to judge? And then the last little piece to add on to these are the rudders for the side. Slide in ever so easily. At that point, you have your Slave One ship. The cockpit is designed to pop out, and you do have your little sidearm here that allows you to up and down Boba Fett's chair that moves into position. Let's put Boba Fett in there. This figure might be a little too big for this. I'm not too sure exactly. Let's find out. You definitely can't have his backpack on because he's definitely won't fit in there for that. But that backpack slides off. And Boba Fett is now designed to slide into position while he flies his ship. We also have a second rudder there. Whoop. We just lost Slave One. We just lost Boba Fett. Okay. Boba Fett fell to the bows of his ship. I'll put this cockpit back on here. And the other cool thing is Slave One actually comes with a handle that allows you to move your ship around very easily. And as you move the ship, the rudders move with the weight of the turn. Except for that. I always remember there being a button for some reason for that. Go figure. Oh, that's what it is. Okay. The button is to hold your wings in place. If you push on the button, you can turn it and the wings stay in place. So I release the button, then the wings will go freely. And again, Slave One. What does others call it? The lamp post. At that point, you got room in the back there. Bring it down, and you got a place that you can store. And you have a place you can store your Han Solo and carbonite. Yeah, how does that work? I guess it just rattles around in there. Well, it's been a while since I've played with the toy. And you have your Han Solo and carbonite inside the toy. And this sculpt, as I said and mentioned before, has not changed from the Kenner line since 1980 when it was released. They've only changed the paint job on it as they upgraded it through the years. But the color schemes have kept the same with the exception of Jango Fett's version of Slave One. So, reinvestigating this model, it is a great toy. It's such a wonderful piece of childhood history, and it's just such a cool design.
No disintegration.
As you wish. He's no good till he's dead.
See, this is me. What about that?
I love this design. So, yeah. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll bring you some more re-unboxings in the future.